Hello and welcome. I'm Eric Price with LI-COR. In this video, we will talk about how to maintain and clean your LI-600N porometer fluorometer. Most of the things you'll need for cleaning and maintenance are included in the spares kit that comes with the instrument, including extra gaskets, filters, and O-rings, foam cleaning swabs, a 1.5 millimeter hex key, and a set of tweezers or forceps, as well as a soft microfiber cloth. You will also need a small Phillips head screwdriver, some isopropyl alcohol, some deionized water, and it's not a bad idea to have another small cup as well for holding the various screws that we will be removing throughout this process. There are two main ways to maintain and clean the instrument. The first would be cleaning the outside of the instrument, cleaning the window, cleaning the fluorometer, the barcode scanner underneath, and the PAR sensor on top. And then we'll go through some more in-depth cleaning, opening up the instrument and cleaning the interior. Since this is designed for field use, you may get dirt or dust or other kinds of contamination on the instrument itself. These can lead to a variety of issues, including a lower light intensity reading than expected, maybe difficulty with the barcode scanner, there may be leaks that are introduced into the system, etc. So it's a good idea to clean the entire instrument. You can clean the whole shell of the instrument with deionized water, even just distilled water should be fine for the housing. For the PAR sensor specifically and the barcode scanner here, we do recommend using these foam tip swabs with deionized water to simply clean the surface and make sure that the water, the deionized water on the foam tip swab is not dripping off of it. You want to get rid of any excess water, but just make sure it's damp enough to clean these. And once you're done, it doesn't hurt to dry those parts off with the microfiber cloth as well. Next, we will remove the window here, the chamber. The best way to do this is to press down on the lever so that the chamber is slightly open with one hand, and then with the other hand, we're going to simply pull the entire chamber out horizontally. So you want to grab both sides of the metal clip and pull directly out like this. And now we've removed our chamber. This can also be cleaned with water. We would recommend removing the gaskets here. There are two gaskets on either side. And you can use your finger or perhaps the tweezers or forceps that is included with the spares kit to simply remove those. Take those out first and then clean the window with that deionized water and make sure it's dry before putting it back on the instrument. The gaskets as well can be cleaned with deionized water. Again, make sure these are very dry before you place them back on the instrument. And we will also want to remove this, this gasket here. The gasket can be gently pulled out. You just simply grab one side of it and sort of work it its way around the gold-plated chamber here. And so that can be removed and cleaned with deionized water as well. Once we've removed the chamber, we can clean this infrared temperature sensor component. We can clean that with isopropyl alcohol. Make sure that you use the foam tip swabs. that come in the spares kit. And again, place those into the isopropyl alcohol and make sure to dab that off. Make sure there's no remaining liquid that's dripping off of the foam tip swab. But once this is damp, you can clean this window. With the isopropyl alcohol, you can also clean the fluorometer component. So there are two sort of lenses here, and this is easily cleaned with isopropyl alcohol as well. And make sure those are dry as well before reassembling the instrument. Now, if you've removed this aperture gasket, it may be difficult to put it back onto the instrument. The easiest way is probably to remove both sides of the shell of the instrument. Take those off, which we'll do in the next step anyway, and that makes it much easier to put this gasket back on. So next we will remove the two halves of the instrument. The reason to open this up would be, again, to replace that gasket, but also to replace the filter, to clean the relative humidity sensors, and to more thoroughly clean the infrared temperature sensor. To do this, you will need your small Phillips head screwdriver, and we will remove the 5 and 7 screws on each side of the instrument. I've removed the 5 screws on this side and the 7 screws on this side of the shell. Anytime we're opening up the instrument, make sure that the instrument is turned off. And you want to do this in a stable location as well, not necessarily in the field. We will remove one side of the shells and then the other side, just like that. And here you do want to make sure that these vents are clean. They eventually will fill up with dust and dirt. So with those, we would recommend using compressed air to blow those out. And then the rest of this, you can quickly and easily wipe that off to make sure those are clean. We'll set those aside. Next, we will clean the infrared temperature sensor. This is under this gold-plated assembly here. It's a good idea to make sure the infrared temperature sensor is clean after a lot of extensive use, or definitely at the end of the field season. To remove the infrared temperature sensor assembly, you'll use the 1.5 millimeter hex key that is included in the spares kit. Once you've removed the screws, it's a good idea to place them in a little cup for safekeeping later. We will just place our fingers on both sides of the gold-plated assembly and lift that clean off. And right here is the infrared temperature sensor, right in the middle of this ring. You definitely don't want to touch that with your fingers. The oils from your fingers, grease, will get onto the window and affect its reading. So never touch it directly. Make sure you're using those foam swabs. And with this, you do want to use the isopropyl alcohol. Again, make sure it's not super wet, just damp enough to clean the infrared temperature sensor. You'll also see 2 O-rings, one right around the infrared temperature sensor, one right before it, and make sure those are clean and not cracked or damaged. If they are, you may need to replace them. With that, you can use the tweezers or forceps that come in the spares kit to remove them. Once you're done with cleaning the infrared temperature sensor, you can place the gold-plated cover back on in the same way it came off. And when you put those screws back in, make sure that you tighten one after the other and kind of alternate between them. You don't want to tighten one completely before the other ones. So place the 3 in and then alternate tightening them down with the hex key before fully tightening all of them. Next, we will clean the relative humidity sensors. They are underneath this metal plate here. To remove this plate, you will need the small Phillips head screwdriver and simply remove those 3 screws. We've removed the 3 screws. Now we can grab the plate and pull it off like this. You may see a gasket that remains on the inside of the manifold here, or in this case, the gasket has stayed with the relative humidity sensor circuit board. To remove this gasket, we do not want to touch it at all, so make sure that you're using your tweezers or forceps to gently grab the gasket and remove it. You don't want to crack or damage the gasket either, and it may be stuck firmly in place, but that's what the gasket looks like. With these, you can simply clean them with DI water and definitely make sure that they are fully dry before putting them back in. So there's one gasket here that goes between this manifold and the circuit board with the relative humidity sensors on it. This board actually separates from the metal plate as well. Just like that. And this is our board with the relative humidity sensors on it. Again, you will see another gasket that may be in place on the metal plate, or it may be stuck to the relative humidity board. If it's stuck to that board, use the tweezers or forceps to remove it. Otherwise, it can remain inside this metal block. Now, this is the board, and these are our 2 relative humidity sensors. You definitely don't want to touch those with your fingers because the oil and grease will affect the readings. To clean this circuit board, you can use, again, the foam tip swab with deionized water and carefully, you don't want to scratch the sensors or anything, carefully clean basically all of the metal that you see here. So the rest of the board should be fine, but any of the metal that you see will be exposed to the air, and so that's what we want to clean. You can also rinse this entire board with deionized water. You can use a squeeze bottle to rinse the whole board and clean that off. But then you definitely need to make sure that the board is completely dry before you reinstall it in the instrument. We recommend drying it with compressed air and also baking it in a drying oven for 6 hours at 100 to 120 degrees Celsius. Make sure it's completely dry before you reinstall this board back into the instrument. To reinstall the relative humidity board, you will go in reverse order. So first you will place the gasket back on the manifold here. This can only go in one way. You can definitely see the shape is asymmetrical, and so it's only designed to go in one way. Once you have that in place, with the relative humidity sensor board, these white parts are the relative humidity sensors. They go on the outside, and this part goes on the inside. These small contacts, these sort of outlying edges here, they go on the top, and so it will basically slide onto the two posts here like this and make contact with the contacts up at the top. And then you will replace the metal plate as well with that same sort of idea. It can only go on one way. The last thing we'll do is replace the air intake filter. This filters out any dust or dirt from the incoming airstream. It is located on the underside of the sensor head. You can simply turn it all the way over, and then we will use our Phillips head screwdriver to remove these 4 screws. Once you have removed the 4 screws, lift up on this metal plate, and you may see the filter has either stuck to the inside of the metal plate or down to this holder here. Either way, you want to use your tweezers. Again, we don't want any oils or grease from our fingers to affect the filter in any way, so simply remove that existing filter and get a new filter from your spares kit. And you can install it. It's probably easiest to install it directly on the holder right here. And then you'll simply put the metal plate back on, reapply those 4 screws, and then put the 2 shells of the instrument back on. So that is how to clean and maintain your LI-600N. We have many more manuals, documents, and videos on our website. And as always, feel free to contact us or your local distributor if you have any questions.